Greetings one and all, and welcome to Combat Critiques. In this installment, let's examine the fight between Wolverine and Deadpool from their aptly named Deadpool and Wolverine film. As we do, let's begin by assessing both sides' motives. Now, this fight is a bit different from the ones I've examined previously, as neither Deadpool nor Wolverine can die or suffer injuries permanently. Indeed, most of their wounds heal in a matter of seconds. So this fight is about releasing aggression. It's for the pain. Deadpool wants to stop his world from being deleted by the Time Variance Authority. Let's not even get into how janky the very concept of that group is, and is now in a position where he can't do anything to stop them. Wolverine here has been dragged into all of this by Deadpool, and apparently he's from a timeline where he failed. Now, I haven't seen the movie Logan, and this film heavily references it, which is a case of dropping the ball in storytelling. That film had no relation to the Deadpool films until now, so people can't be expected to know the events of a previously unrelated installment. But that's an entire can of worms in itself. Be aware that I know absolutely nothing about these characters beyond what's in the film, so if there's more to them that is not directly stated, I will not know of it, nor will it be factored in here. But without further ado, let's get on to the fight, shall we?
If they can fix your world, what's the first thing you're gonna do when you get out of here? Some rubbing alcohol shots? Maybe a wiper fluid chaser?
What did you say?
So when you get back, what's the first thing you're gonna do?
No, before that.
So this is what kicks this off. Deadpool slipped up and showed his hand. He asked Wolverine if they can fix your world. Not when, but if. Up until this point, he had been assuring Wolverine that the TVA would fix his world, but he never had any guarantee of that. And so Wolverine had been deceived.
I mean, you lied to me. You don't have a clue if they can help me fix things, do you?
No, I mean... No!
Ooh, that's several stab wounds to the thigh. And what's in the thigh? That's right, the femoral artery. Damage to that is serious business, but given that neither of these two can die from normal means, this likely means that it just hurts to an exceptional degree.
I didn't lie!
You lied!
No, I made an educated wish!
An educated wish? Yep, there we go. There's the reason that I gave Deadpool the blue text in the introduction while Wolverine got the red. I use red text for protagonists, heroes, or characters that we're supposed to root for, blue for antagonists or villains, and green for third parties that don't fit either category. Deadpool is in the wrong here. He lied to Wolverine and got him dragged into this alternate dimension, which functions as a sort of trash bin and prison for things and people the TVA decide to dispose of, never to return to their own worlds. There's no way of looking at that without Deadpool being scummy.
I'm blue! Because if we don't do something, they die. I don't know anything about saving worlds. And why would I even care? Because my entire world is right here in this picture.
Deadpool admits here that he doesn't really care about the world, just a few people in it. And really, the human mind isn't designed to truly perceive the entire world, not on a personal level. If I told you to imagine 1,000 people, chances are you're just going to think of a crowd. But can you picture all of those 1,000 faces individually? What about their lives, their personal aspirations and values? That's much more difficult to do. There are approximately 8.2 billion people on Earth, and there's no way that anyone can process all of that on a deep level. However, you can process those people that mean something to you. Saving the world is a grand goal, and an admirable one, but it's so lofty that it can be hard to hold on to for some. But saving people that you know and care for, well, that's a much more tangible goal.
I know how to f*** people up for money, but you know how to save them. least the other Wolverine did. I guess I'm stuck with the worst one.
Deadpool then decides to antagonize the man that he dragged into this whole fiasco and rightly has the blades in his leg twisted for it.
You are made of stupid.
This is why I personally don't find Deadpool all that engaging for long. From what I've seen of him, he's good as a supporting character, nice to have around for a laugh, but he's ultimately selfish. It rubs me the wrong way when someone in real life or a fictional character just does whatever they want, regardless of how it affects others.
You are a ridiculous, immature, half-wit moron. I have never met a sadder, more attention-starved, jabbering little in my entire life.
And that describes a good number of people you can find on the internet. Truly, I try to bring as much positivity as I can on my channel, given how much bad there is out in the world, but you must be prepared to encounter those whose sole desire is to bring others down. Remember that the next time someone tries to make your day that much worse. They are small and insignificant. They are not worth your time, which is what they want. Don't give it to them.
You will never save the world. You couldn't even save a relationship with a goddamn stripper.
So Wolverine gives it to him straight here. Deadpool's actions up to this point have been repugnant. I've known some people like him, where they're fun to have around because of what they can get up to, but sooner or later, you realize that they don't really value you and they're more trouble than they're worth. Don't settle for bad company, people. It's better to have few friends than a bunch of fake ones.
I'm gonna fight you now.
Oh, are you?
Deadpool strikes first, and while his shoulder blocks the camera, it looks like he delivered a punch to Wolverine's nose, causing a nosebleed. Now, given that both of them are seated, there may be a small loss of power, as you wouldn't be able to get the full range of motion to drive that attack. Not a whole lot, but maybe just a bit. This will hurt, but not when a fight on its own, and the lack of a follow-up is a tactical blunder. Wolverine responds with 2 punches of his own, then slamming Deadpool's head around, first into the door frame, then into the dashboard, turning on the radio that somehow works here. Now I have to dodge copyright.
Oh, my favorite.
For whatever reason, Deadpool just lets him do this. I get that neither of you can die, but why aren't you doing something about this? That still must hurt. Deadpool finally decides to try drawing a blade, but he's got a back scabbard. Which means that he can't do so and receives another punch to the face for his trouble. To be fair, I don't believe that he could draw a sword, even if he had it on his hip. The space here is too confined. This is why, despite the sword not being the primary weapon in feudal Japan, samurai still wore a wakizashi alongside a katana, especially when they went indoors. Cramped spaces mean that you can't utilize a longer blade, so a wakizashi would be more useful than a katana. Wolverine then manages to strap Deadpool's seatbelt, restricting the latter's mobility before stabbing through his stomach. On a normal person, that would likely be fatal without medical intervention, but it wouldn't be a swift passing. That will take some time to bleed out, and it will be excruciating the whole way. Deadpool manages to evade the next attack though, reclining the seat to dodge the strike. Good luck doing that on one of these more modern cars that have the slowest possible motors to do this. Over-engineered they are. Thankfully for Deadpool, this was not one of those models. Wolverine's next blow is halted by Deadpool jamming his foot into his arm, then throwing his other foot around to force his head into the doorframe. The legs are the strongest limbs of the body after all, much more than your neck. They have to be, seeing as they need to support the rest of the body most of the time. Just look at how strong an obese person is if they lose weight. This is also why you can lift so much more with your legs, and why kicks are more powerful than hand techniques.
Oh, you dirty!
But Wolverine recovers and manages to brace himself before jamming his claws into Deadpool's midsection again. Man, that has got to be unpleasant. Deadpool does, however, manage to get his feet under Wolverine's chest and kicks him through the windshield. This is another case of movie glass not shredding the skin of someone getting sent through it, but hey, just about every movie does this thing. It's still an oversight, just a common one. Wolverine does go flying quite some distance, and this is likely due to the adrenaline levels in both combatants spiking. They might be nigh-immortal, but that doesn't mean that their bodies don't have a fight or flight response.
We're to be two immortals locked in an epic battle until Judgment Day and the trumpets sound. Or you could surrender.
Deadpool then starts to move out through the broken windshield to engage Wolverine, but the latter slams into the van hard enough to knock it back and send Deadpool flying back inside it. I can only assume that Wolverine's strength and durability are greater than a normal human's, as hitting a car that hard would damage you significantly. Wolverine then leaps inside and plunges both sets of claws into Deadpool's guts again. He really likes going for those, doesn't he? While Deadpool keeps trying to use swords, the closest thing that these claws would resemble would be a katar, a type of dagger from India. That design has the blade extending outward from the fist, as opposed to being held in the hand like most weapons. It's useful in certain circumstances, but it makes it more difficult to parry or block attacks. Wolverine gets a few more stabs in before Deadpool blocks his arm, but then he just shifts to attacking that arm. Deadpool then shifts, and he trades having the claw sunk into his side for some leverage against his opponent. Deadpool then clambers atop Wolverine, and Wolverine has struck him again, as look at where Deadpool's weapons are. They certainly haven't done any damage here. We can't see where Wolverine struck, but we can hear that he has. He's even laughing now. While he certainly has no fondness for Deadpool, fighting can sometimes be a bonding experience for us guys. If you give as good as you get, then you can come to respect the other dude, even if you don't like him. That's how my dad made several of his friends when he was in high school, and they're still friends decades later. Wolverine then sends Deadpool through the roof, though it's unclear whether he kicked him or threw him. If it was the former, then that would make sense, but if it's the latter, then Wolverine is truly a monster in terms of raw power. Just look at the air Deadpool catches here. Deadpool manages to perform a kip-up, and Wolverine taunts him, ready to continue their fight. Deadpool discards his swords and draws two small push daggers before diving through the window back into the van. Hey, I just mentioned the guitar, and now we have something similar. Wolverine avoids the initial dive, but then eats a kick to the chest, and the back of his head smashes out the front passenger window. Deadpool then tackles him onto the roof, where he attacks Wolverine's neck several times. Again, fatal for a mortal, but given that these two cannot die, this is just painful.
No!
Wolverine then manages to pull Deadpool's arm around before snapping the elbow. I do like the leverage shown here. Deadpool can't move his arm, and Wolverine's hand on his elbow forces the pressure to be constrained there, rather than allowing the rest of Deadpool's body to take it. Deadpool is then thrown through the length of the van, shattering the rear windshield before he snaps his arm back into place. He doesn't have the time to capitalize on this before Wolverine drags him back inside, however. Wolverine then delivers a punch to Deadpool's face, but the latter blocks the next strike, using Wolverine's own momentum against him to whip him about. He then manages to wrap the seatbelt around Wolverine's neck, though for some reason, Wolverine is just batting his hands around like a frightened toddler. Additionally, he doesn't use his claws to cut the seatbelt, letting Deadpool pull off this convoluted maneuver. Seriously, how long is this seatbelt? It sort of defeats the purpose of restraining someone if there's this much of it, but Wolverine finally does decide to cut the seatbelt, and as Deadpool lurches towards him, he redirects the latter's momentum into the seat beside him. Wolverine draws his claws, but Deadpool defends himself with his hands, though they get impaled in the process. Wolverine overpowers him, however, and the claws end up going into Deadpool as his head destroys yet another window. It's no John Wick 3, but there's certainly a lot of broken glass here.
Baby knife!
Wolverine then does one of my favorite moves, a knee to the face, and he does it twice. Love that one. Deadpool manages to draw another weapon though, a knife, and pierces through Wolverine's thigh with it. Again, femoral artery. He follows this up with a kick that sends Wolverine sprawling into the dashboard. We then see Wolverine leap back at Deadpool, and he promptly sinks his claws into him anywhere he can reach. This essentially concludes the fight, as we only see the vehicle rocking as they continue, with the afternoon turning to night, and then again to morning to show us that they fought for hours on end. The aftermath shows us that Wolverine clearly came out on top, with Deadpool almost mummified by the seatbelts. While neither can die, they do seem to require energy, as both have passed out from the exertion. But what did you think of this fight? I thought it was refreshingly creative, restricting both parties to fighting in such a confined space, and getting to see the damage done to the van itself. I do have to wonder how many takes it took though, along with fixing the set back up between takes. Leave your thoughts in the comments below, leave a like on this video if you're so inclined, and subscribe to see more. I would like to thank you for watching, and may you all have a weapon in each hand.